billionaires are into this stuff, I want to see what the they're doing to me. I don't want them to just cast their magic on me. Like when I found out the McDonald's M is a sigil, I had an anxiety attack. And have you noticed that McDonald's and all these brands will use lower vibration, lower chakra colors like yellow, red, orange to make you hungry? And because you're not supposed to be hungry, you're supposed to be fasting. You're supposed to be meditating God's word and fasting. And fasting is like the fastest way to become clairvoyant with God's message. You want to be clairvoyant with God's message. You don't want to be like Marina Abramovich, clairvoyant with a human psyche. That's satanic as f. Yeah. Also, another thing, humans aren't supposed to be digesting that much food. They're supposed to be drinking a lot of their food. That I found out recently. So that's why I drink this like kiwi shit. Even though it's got a bunch of sugar, it's a start. And yeah, I'm pissing green. I just piss kiwi all day. I have like 1 billion calories on kiwi. And I didn't know kiwi is that powerful for like keeping your mind electrically charged. Like fruits are like electric batteries to humans. Fruits are essential. And you're not really supposed to be drinking 1,000 kiwis. You're supposed to eat them. But I'm lazy, nigga. It's so delicious. This is my first month ever drinking smoothies.
The world donated $5. Techniques to hit people's subconscious such as tone manipulation, etc.
You should use symbols. So I like to walk in the room with a Trump shirt so the women know I am the conservative to build a family with. John are the Rosicrucians, satanic, the higher ups, sorry, yeah. They're Kabbalists, so.
Let's go, pal. I'm making a withdrawal here.
Jesse donated $5. Are the Gospels of Thomas talked about within the church? What's your opinion on them?
They are. Dimensions exist because they're all folded within this. The only way it makes sense is if they intersect with ours. Like, do you believe in invisible world of spirits? Of course you do.
Armando donated $5. A girl I talk to practices Santeria. Should I stay away from her? I am a life path 6 born on the 8. I am a dog.
Yeah, a lot of girls in Miami practice that. And yeah, you should stay away. A lot of fresh fit girls I met all practice that. Even the chopping the rooster's head off with their like uncle. Like what the whoever you are piping is your married partner in the spiritual realm. And they are bringing you whatever the you're getting in this world. Because you're crisscrossing energies. And you're not creating, you're just crisscrossing, and really, you're taking from the woman.
How does a man get a gorgeous woman with no clout in Miami? Should I try getting bottle service in the clubs? Try Tinder? What should I do exactly, bro?
It doesn't matter, because you won't sustain her if you're broke. But you don't need the clout. You need money and good looks.
Okay, can you explain chaos magic?
Chaos magic is pretty much playing with your subconscious to make your to implement your will onto reality, and it's called chaos because it usually, well, it's from the chaos magic movement that turned into kind of like that Crowley thing, but basically it's called chaos because everyone's doing stuff to get something for themselves, so it gets very chaotic. And the world gets destroyed if everyone knows how to do this. But the start of it was mostly sigils. Like McDonald's, the M in McDonald's is a sigil. It's a hypercharged sigil. And the more attention you bring to symbols, the more power they get. That's why they do them in arenas and Super Bowls and stuff like that. And pretty much why everyone wants to be an influencer is because the more attention you can get on something, the more you can charge it. I think I say the word too much. It lost power. I used to be more powerful when I said it. In yogi practices, the throat chakra, you're not supposed to actually speak a lot, so your words have more power. By the way, English language is the simplified version, mastery of spellcasting, but the original languages actually had the vibrations bent reality when they would say El, like Elohim or Mikael or Raphael or whatever. When humans used to speak, it used to sonically change reality, and now the coded language, A is 1, B is 2, it's gotten weakened, right? And they did that on purpose, right? Like, they do certain things to keep us always in a weakened state. Like, I don't ever say good morning because I'm not mourning anyone's death. That's a spell casting. That's in how you say, that's like the image of what you're saying, you're not noticing, is in your subconscious, and it pings. Bing bong bing. And the subconscious isn't just when you're sleeping, guys. It's like the elephant that you appease with a peanut throughout the day. It's got a mind of its own, and it is linked to God. But usually if you explore the depths, you find the devil, because it's just so much easier to find the devil in the world, because it's so much easier to be in a fearful mind state than it is to be in it's love and fear. These are the only two mindsets. And love is courage. It's the synonym for courage. Courage is synonym for faith in God. So it's just, faith in God or fear. And it's so much easier to be in your lower vibration. So it's so much easier to just, you submit throughout the day. Like, even if you get everything done and you're a millionaire and you're killing it in life, you're still submitting to the spell casting. That's why you're a nihilist. That's why you need God. And when you have God, you still need God. When you have God, you struggle with faith, right? You have bad days, good days. So it's like the whole system is designed to keep you down. But when you think of zillions of dollars designed to keep you down, depressed, and low vibration, when you think of how much power and money it takes to keep a soul down, you start to ask yourself, how strong is that soul? That, like, we're at the lowest point in history where women close the gap on cheating with men, even though they're like 20 times less horny or some shit. If you think about it, wow, the human soul is so powerful that you need zillions of dollars to just, and it still fights. The soul still fights for Christ. It still fights for, You don't believe in reincarnation? No. Well, here's the thing. I believe in, and you can pull from a collective unconscious, not what Carl Jung said, where I don't believe what he said, his hypothesis of the collective unconscious was all people. I don't believe that. I think it's ancestral. So you can pull from your ancestors. And that's why racism and tribalism is huge, because, you're linked to that ancestral traumatic bloodline. That's the suffering bloodline. All your ancestors suffered with the same, and I do believe that your ancestors suffered with the same things you suffered. So if you had a big problem with whores like me, and you hate a whore society, I believe even when it was more clean, my ancestors had my temperament. Like, a lot of you guys don't realize that when I listen to music, I still find them cringe when I unplug the headphones. I don't absorb Eminem the way you guys do. It's still a Satanist, right? Like, most of Slim Shady's work was pretty But then people say, Zherka, you talk about like rape and murder, so you're like the Eminem of streaming. And yeah, I should tone that down, actually. I'm starting to sound evil. And I'm the good guy. You've done 20-hour streams without eating. Yeah, dude, ever since I was 16, if I'm working or enjoying myself, I forget to eat. Is anyone else like that? And I'm those kind of guys that if, like, you put anything in my stomach, I get like sleepy, so I have to avoid that.
Serpent Temple donated $5. How about you talk about Genesis and the forbidden fruit of knowledge? The serpent told Adam and Eve they could be like God, which satanic Andrew Tate is doing now, which is why he has a serpent tattoo.
Yeah, I mean, this is gonna kind of like piss a lot of people off, but that raging dragon or the serpent or any snake symbolism in these books, it's not, yeah, you can take it in a literal sense, but it is talking about the raging serpent with wings, it's talking about your penis. Every single time, that's the tempter. That root chakra energy is what tempts you. That's what's making you a loser or a millionaire, but that's what a dragon is throughout all of mythology.
Let's go, pal. I'm making a withdrawal here.
MK donated $5. John, could you react to the David Icke interview with Arizona Wilder? She is an ex-MK Ultra slave who was used by the British royal family to help perform high-level satanic rituals. Icke's lizard theory was based on this interview.
Let's go, pal. I'm making a withdrawal here.
Jeff donated $5. What books do you recommend I read first?
I think you should read the Bible, and then you can read anything and reverse engineer it.
Let's go, pal. I'm making a withdrawal here.
JD donated $5. I found my faith in Christ again. But I always have that little voice in the back of my head that says man is just afraid of their mortality and we're all just playing pretend at the end of the day. How do you get past this?
Well, it's simple, really. It's like, for thousands of years, did everyone get it wrong? The best way to see this is evolution's the opposite. In the Egyptian times, we had clairvoyant vision. We could see each other's auras. We could cyclically connect. We had just a couple of vowels, not a full-on languages. We had different systems of communication, different supernatural powers. When you start going more supernatural as you go to the timeline, the start of history, now Christ becomes a fact. But if you go from materialist perspective to Christ, then it kind of seems like hocus pocus. But there's many people doing magical things back then. Christ was the only one who did the stuff no one could do, like resurrect.
Kishin 2K donated $5. Can you recommend Jung books?
For Jungian psychology, I think interpretation of dreams, you want to look at that work. Symbolism, Alchemy is one of my favorite books of his. And The Red Book, which probably is going to take you 500 times of reading, because that's not psychology, that's mysticism. That's why he published this so late. He didn't want to be kicked out of the scientific community. But The Red Book is like, oh my God, dude. That is a life-changing book. And it comes from the runes of the symbolism of the five black books or whatever. For me, my only authors, after I finished the Bible, which you don't, let's be honest, you got to keep doing the Bible again and again for like 10 years.
Jesus Isking donated $5. I want to start to read the Bible but am a bit confused. Should I read Old or New Testament? And Hebrew or Greek? Can you pull up the book for me?
Well,
Love.
Do you speak Hebrew or Greek? And you should start with New Testament.
Edgar123 donated $10. Who you got for the Folk versus Taporia? You should watch his highlights.
Start with the New Testament, always. And make it your first love. Because you're never going to master the Bible. Start with the New Testament, stick till you understand it fully. But here, my only authors in life, Rudolf Steiner, Carl Jung. But yeah, that's it. And Manny P. Hall, I love Manny.
Christy Skeen donated $5. It's so stupid that Sigmund Freud and Carl Jung had a falling out.
No, it's not stupid. Freud could not keep up with Jung. That's the truth. He got out and intellectually outpaced. So Freud is like, I mean, Sigmund Freud only helped me with women, really. That's it. There's ego, super ego. Like, get the fuck out of here, bro. Jung is so much. You could skip Freud, bro. Yeah, you could say prototype, but like, they don't go to the same place, right? And Jung always brings the Bible into his work. Even if he's bashing it or is talking good about it, it feels like you're getting the whole scope of history in that kind of psychological work instead of, I don't know, Freud feels so rigid, bro.
Let's go, pal. I'm making a withdrawal here.
Serpent Apple donated $5. Is it not ironic that there is a bitten apple on the back of the iPhone which symbolizes the forbidden fruit of knowledge from Genesis that Adam and Eve took a bite of, and now everyone has an iPhone consuming knowledge trying to be like God?
Well, knowledge, what they're biting this apple really, or it's not an apple, it's a fruit, but what biting from this fruit really means is equality. That you want to be equal to God, or a woman wants to be equal to man. And it's So satanic.
Every time I talk about flat earth to my brother, he always go to study a NASA project paper with math. That all this math wouldn't work if the planet was flat. What would you say?
That's stupid, because Einstein and every intellectual said the mathematics for every geocentric position also work on a globe. They're interchangeable. I could give you a whole documentary on that. That is the dumbest, and get out of my chat for saying that. That is the most debunked shit I've ever heard. Yeah, the original MacBook was $666.66. Yeah, they do that shit on purpose, bro. They don't need money. They don't need money. They print money. Okay? It's very stupid when people think that everything's like Andrew Tate's capitalist position. The elites just for money. They just money. They print money. They live longer. They want to drink their life force. What was I saying? Yeah, I think here, the Bible and Carl Jung, and there you have Zherka's mindset. There, these, because it'll take you 10 years to finish this, to get to where I'm at. Like, I just recommend these two, because then you have like the light and the dark, and then Jung actually becomes more open to God at the end. But Manny P. Hall's a good start for understanding etheric bodies and astral bodies, and lower astral, medium astral, upper astral world, which are all above the etheric world. And then you have the mental plane, which is like mind forms of God, or perfect geometric shapes of God, thought patterns of God. And then you have the Godhead, which, by the way, when I'm talking about psychology, it's not just what we study. It's also psychic phenomenology, meaning stuff you can't explain, but you can record and find, you can see patterns through it, right? And I also studied a lot about clairvoyant vision and certain foods or fasting methods to do to see people's auras, believe it or not. And that takes way too long, but that's also stuff I read right now.
Let's go, pal. I'm making a withdrawal here.
Condude246 donated $5. When are you getting baptized? Christmas is over, mate. To get baptized Catholic as an adult, you have to do Rika.
No, I'm already baptized. I posted you guys on Twitter, right? And I'm not gonna lie, guys, I still believe faith in God is first, works is second. Because there's this whole argument that I'm not gonna get into it. Yeah, but I made sure it was on the 23rd. Master race lost. What?
What do you think about ancient civilizations like Atlantis and Lemuria that came before the Bible? How did they become advanced without faith?
Clearly, like, guys, this is gonna sound crazy, but there's stuff in the Bible that we don't have that the Vatican hid from us. I think we all agree with that. Clearly, there were spiritual systems before the intermediary of Christ came. Or you could say that Atlantis stuff came after and the timeline of history is warped. But everything you see in movies, TV, Avatar, the Blue Movie and stuff, all that random fantasy world is not abstract. The world used to be very mystical and stuff. Like Plato talks about Atlantis, and Rudolf Steiner talks about Atlantean beings. They breathed the water vapor in the air or some shit. They didn't have lungs. Very different. Or yeah, he even talks about the germination of cells being created in Saturn. And basically it's like a cosmic clock, that how we see the sun up here, Saturn used to rule overhead. And now that Saturn is the furthest away from grace, life, pro-life energy, which is the solar energy of the sun, in this material world, right? It wouldn't just be Christ. It would be Christ is everything that's good, right? The prime goodness, or what does Jung call it? I forget what he calls it in Latin. But yeah, Saturn would be the coldest planet away from the sun, meaning all satanic forces come from that. And that's why the people who do these Hillary Clinton rituals are Saturnians. A lot of people Saturnians.
What do you think about Tucker Carlson saying Terry's things about UAP so dark he won't even tell his wife? He said the government is complicit in Terry's spirituality aspect. He said people couldn't deal with it and it could lead to
Yeah. Tucker Carlson knows who's at the
Yoni
top.
Boys. JD donated $5. When they burned the books in the Renaissance, they being them boys, in my opinion is when they manipulated the Bible and other forms of education we use today.
Yeah. It's not them boys, it's the...
Tony donated $5. Do you think when Jung started listening to his internal spiritual gurus they were demonic in nature? Can you break down Ryan's experiments with synchronicity? Is it a good starting place for parapsychology?
I do think that he dealt with dark forces
Water
early in his
donated
career.
$5.
Because his mom said
My
it.
grandpa was a Freemason and at his funeral it was very weird. Can you explain?
It doesn't matter. Unless it's like a very, very wealthy Freemason, they're usually just old men, bro.
Edgar123123 donated $10. What you recommend if my blood sister adoptive parents are liberal and now that I'm a Christian for the past 4 months every time I see them I get very uncomfortable. I want to see her but not them. How would you approach?
Well, no, you're not supposed to let it affect your relationships. Dude, being a Christian just means you have to go kill it in your career, make Ferrari level money, so everyone in your family go, he's the only Christian, and it's working for him. I think I'm going to try what he's doing. That's how you do it. You lead by example. You lead, right? Like being Christian isn't being a preachy at the table. You're never going to convince these people. You have to be a rock star like me. Like nobody you think in the Thanksgiving table anyone sits down with me and they know my paycheck, they know my business, they know how much data IQ brings, they know all this. You think they sit and try and convince me to join their faith? No.
Russellville6N donated $5. I'm going to buy my first Bible. Which version do you recommend?
Amplified version. Now you could do King James, you could do the Catholic one. Look, I don't really give a because I hold on.
Jesus_is_God donated $5. Nothing on Twitter about your baptism. Lying is a sin. Repent and show us your baptism certificate.
Sure, I will. Just hang on a sec. It doesn't matter. You know why I say it doesn't matter if it's King James or this version of the Bible? None of you actually finish it. None of you. Right? Like how many of you pick up the Bible and read once?
Let's go, pal. I'm making a withdrawal here.
Julian0379 donated $5. Weak forearms compared to rest of build. Do you have any tips/exercises for that?
Oh, I thought you were saying me. Forearms are like calf muscles. They're genetic. But you could be that idiot in the gym doing these curls. No, just get stronger. And your body will even out the more you build your whole base. Yeah, I'm not gonna lie. I started with the King James version, and lately, I mean, these last few weeks, I've been doing the Amplified online, and I have a couple of Bibles I bought that are coming in. But yeah, they're not too different. Well, the translations will be like, this is the difference in them. Let's see if I remember. I will be with you always, even unto the end of the world, or I will be with you always, even to the end of the age. And then there's I will be with you always until the end of time. So the translations aren't that different, like how people say it's stupid different. It's not that different, right? It's not a big deal for me. Now, if you're like debating and stuff, now you got to pick a Bible for real. But I actually recommend whichever one's easiest for you, because you're gonna quit. Yeah, Jenny, you sent me yours is like a pink Bible, and I'm like, what the was that? But yeah, whatever's easiest for you.
Regan Ford donated $5. John, what's your take? Black Americans not being from Africa? No evidence of slave boats. Also, Witsit Gitsit is the best flat earther.
I like Witset a lot. And I don't really care about race. Like,
Adolf donated $5. My friend's dad was once one of the richest men in Bolivia and was a Freemason, but he lost everything, went insane. Now he asks his son for money, tells him he's doing white magic for him, but when asked about a cult he goes silent. What do you think?
Maybe he knows some shit. Why is he going silent?
Ra donated $5. Zherka,
Change
what
your
will
name.
happen when people find out McKinley, Michelle, and Grace are all inverted? Oops, did I leak something?
Let's go, pal. I'm making a withdrawal here.
Shkapi donated $5. Did you enjoy rack pulls over deads back in your days?
I always did rack pulls over deads because I have like a paranoia about pulling something. Deadlifts are dangerous, bro. Let's be honest. I've seen too much shit.
Donated $5. Are you aware Terry's dozens of books removed from the Bible, especially the secret book of John, that stated Jesus returned in a non-human form and gave him secret knowledge? Have you read any of these?
I know this one, and there's a lot of early Christian Gnostics who talk about Jesus just being a psychic phenomenon and not real, or like a phantom. I don't really buy into that, sorry. Right? I think we have the meat and potatoes truth of Christ, and then we're missing a lot of details. I think what we're missing most is the magnum, the magic. I think, the Bible, I think there's pages in the Bible that talk about humans actively engaging in magic without knowing it, and how to build your own world correctly. And it seems like those pages are taken out, because does anyone else agree what you think you become? Like, it just, the wheels turn, dude. I can't explain to you how. Yeah, I don't think miracles are magic when Christ does it, but I think humans do actively engage in magic. Like what Cristiano Ronaldo's doing when he's kicking a ball is not football. That's not football at all. It wouldn't bring billions of people's attention to it if it was just football. He's not just kicking a ball, right? Like he's clearly spiritually charged. And Ronaldo, they say, is
Donated $5. Thoughts on the Apocrypha if you know it? Apocrypha are biblical or related writings not forming part of the accepted canon of Scripture. While some might be doubtful authorship or authenticity.
No, I don't with it. I don't the Book of Enoch. I don't.
Proverbs donated $5. Which mental framework would you advise be successful at achieving goals?
Anything that kills negative thought loops.
Jesus was Italian 69 donated $5. Which Manly P. Hall book to start?
I think probably The Secret Teaching of All Ages is a good start. Yeah, and as soon as you're done Manly P. Hall, you can switch to Rudolf Steiner, and then that'll take you a while. Or you could just skip them and stay on Jung. That's how I did it, and then I went to them. And then my first ever teacher was Albert Pike. Like the first time I ever was a scholar taking notes. I was in Colombia. I was very depressed and very alone, and I didn't go out. I didn't pick up chicks. I just finished the whole book.
Regan Ford donated $5. Is Jesus God? Is he one with the Father?
Yeah, Jesus is the Son of God, the Word of God, and the Word was with God, and the Word was God. And Jesus is also the Son of Man. Jesus is infinite. And Jesus, through our perspective, comes in a limited form, but there's nothing limited about Christ. Yeah, Jesus is God. That's why everyone on earth stops talking if you mention Jesus. That's why everyone gets weird. They get, actually, he's our prophet. We respect him. That's why everyone is afraid. Even black magicians, they have to like build up courage to do one ritual against God. Like they have to it takes them a while, and then they go give to charity. Like these Hillary Clinton types, they'll give to charity because they are afraid, they are pissed off God. But yeah, dude, Jesus is the G of the world. There's one name on earth that has all the clout, all the power, all the attention, and it's the name with the most humility, because Jesus is just a slave who gets beaten and up and killed. So if you think about it, the weakest example of a man is Christ, yet it is the most powerful man that has ever walked the face of the earth. How can you have both if you're not God? Like, how? That's impossible. You have no idea that you can't make a superhero that weak but that infinite. It's impossible to do. You can't. That's impossible to do. Like, that's insanity. To get someone like Zherka to be Jesus, gang, Zherka doesn't want to follow a dude who gets whipped and fucked up and humiliated. But I submit because I'm like, holy shit, who else am I going to follow? Everyone else fell short. Everyone else failed. The only person who has brought God to every corner of the earth was that man, and that man is not a man. Well, he's a fully man, but he's fully God, and it just feels like blasphemy to call him a man. And that's the Christianity that I teach. I don't teach that Christianity where they try and strip divinity and focus on his weakness. We don't focus on Jesus' death as much as we focus on the resurrection, baby. That's how you teach the Bible. We focus on the resurrection. We resurrect our mindsets. Because Jesus is also an archetype that you put into your psyche. You stitch it against your psyche. Jesus is not just, like when people say Jesus is just the Son and then the 12 disciples are the constellations. Yeah, sure, that too. I'm not those guys who run from that. I'm not a Christian mystic where it's like, oh, I believe. Yeah, he's all of that. He is all of that. He's every single thing that falls into the archetype of the winner. I don't care. I'm not a pussy who says like, well, the 12 disciples align with the zodiac, therefore it's not real. It's based on the zodiac. No, it's remade on Earth. Does that make sense? Or like when people say Christianity is just a psychological, spiritual teaching, a psycho-spiritual teaching where Jesus, the main character, is your best form. Sure, okay, I'll take that too. And he's God. I'll take every single thing they say about Christ plus a literal story, right? So I don't know why people say it's either a literal story or allegory. You know, why not both? It's God, he can do it all. And a lot of Christians would hate that. They'd be like, that's a little much. But I'm like, dude, it's God. He would make a story that aligns with the zodiac constellations, allegory, poetry, veiled in secrecy, but actually given to us through symbolism. He would do all of that.
Thoughts on the Merovingian bloodline being the hidden bloodline of Jesus? Also, what do you think of the Priory of Sion if you know of them?
Fake news. Any Jesus bloodline story is fake news. And it would be irrelevant, okay? Because, dude, Christianity is not just king of the it's end of the God for everyone, right? Even when the are good guys and they fuck up a bit, it's the end of their story. Like, their story is irrelevant, right? Christianity is the end of racial stories. There's only one story that matters. This is God's story. And why I give white people their flowers is because they hold the Bible closest. And even now, well, now they look stupid doing it. There's very few of them. I mean, they're here. They're with me. But we need more of them. And we're not going to let that zodiac shit win, where the age of Pisces is ending, therefore Christianity is going to die. No, not if I... Bro, you guys have no idea how radical I'm going to become. I only became more radical as the years passed. I'm like the opposite of a streamer. What do you think is going to happen when I'm like 35?
Orthodoxon donated $5. Hey John, 20 years old 1 LP, 9th month 23rd day 2003, have been stepping out to Miami and doing interviews. How do I use it to bring Christ while not being an ineffective Christian?
You're a leader, argumentative, so you should argue in your street content. And you said a 23, so you're a 5, then you should look like me. You should look like a 5. So yeah, maybe get girls in your content if you look good. And I've noticed something about 5s is the ones that don't look that good still get a lot of women. So they still have like that 5 energy. Are you gonna stay sober? I've always been sober. Like when you guys see me acting a little strange,
Let's go.
I used to do Adderall to finish books. I finished like 100
Neon
books in
Raven
a month.
donated $5. How can you reprogram your mind to deal with childhood traumas and dominate your mind to not let your subconscious take the lead?
Yeah, you have to go. Reprogramming your mind means you have to go into the depths, into your shadow, into the worst psychic trauma you could experience. So you have to go relive it. However you want to do that is up to you, but you will never go through the blackening. To go to the albedo whitening alchemical process, you have to go through the shadow. Like there's no other way. I don't know why God made it so courage is the only key in life, but it is. And courage is faith. You can't be courageous without faith. So faith and courage are interchangeable. You have to do that. I did it. Everyone's done it.